All right, I'm going to take another attempt at this. I've had a few disasters so far, but we'll see. This is my Activity 3 reflection log. It says on the pacing guide, you can choose your avenue of how you to complete this. Reflection log, blog, vlog, podcast, Flipgrid. Doesn't say specifically a video like this, but hopefully this is like a vlog. I don't know. I don't see a link to Flipgrid yet, so I'm going with this and I hope it'll work. And I'll share the YouTube link when I finish. In terms of the my reflection, the strengths of our school's LMS. Obviously, we're just learning it. In full disclosure, I started to try to use Schoology when we went into the shutdown in March. That first week when it was crashing all the time, I panicked a little bit, and since I was learning from scratch, I decided, you know what, I'm not too far into it, and I swapped over to Google Classroom. And so the time that I could or should have been learning about Schoology this spring, I had moved over to Google Classroom. And so I am fairly new to Schoology this summer as we work through this, but obviously I think there's a lot of similarities in terms of how we want it to work for students and be simple and clear. So strengths of Schoology. It seems awesome that it'll connect with Skyward, and it seems awesome that it will be a great place where we can communicate with students. They can communicate with each other through the discussion boards and so on, kind of like we've done with this course. So, I mean, freedom with fences or flexibility with fences. I think, we'll need to have some things in there where kids need to have a timeline so that they can actually interact with each other. But that'll be something that I'll figure out. The strength, again, another strength will be if we're all using the same thing. For one, we can learn from each other. Brian Willie doesn't have to be the only expert. We can learn from each other. Kids can also say, hey, this worked really well in Mr. Seagar's class. You should try this, things like that. So I'm excited about that. That consistency, that'll be a good thing too. So that'll be a strength. I know it has really good capabilities as far as assessment. I'm not super familiar with those yet. I'm a little concerned that I think the assessment capabilities seem to be mostly in terms of multiple choice, and there's a place for that, but it's tricky for math. So I'm hoping we'll be able to do some in-person assessments as well, so kids can do free response things. But that's something I'll have to learn more about. I know Schoology has those capabilities. I'm just not super clear on all of them. Some limitations for designing lessons online. Obviously we've got the accessibility things, not just internet accessibility, but also, for EL students and hearing impaired students or visually, whatever. And then just the limitations of not being able to respond to questions in real time. Presenting lessons online means kids are getting the whole thing, and if they get lost at the beginning, they're kind of out of luck. Whereas in the classroom, somebody can raise their hand and say, hey, I don't get it. And we can stop and regroup there as needed. So delivering online, that's going to be a real thing, but that's not specific to this LMS. That's just online learning. And so I'll have to get better at that. One little side note, I do like Edpuzzle in that way because it can say, all right, thus far through this video, have some kids answer some questions, and if they can answer those correctly, then obviously that's a good sign. If not, they know they would need to go back or whatever. So some little checkpoints within, but that's a side note from the LMS. Areas that I need to grow in my understanding, I guess I've talked about that some before. Here's the structure that I'm thinking of for right now. This is just my plan is that I would have a folder at the top. Kids there's always syllabus, logins. I'd probably have the school calendar linked here. If we have to do something goofy like hybrid stuff, A day, B day, or however kids will need to know to navigate their schedule or whatever relevant information. It's just specific to the course, not necessarily for the unit. And then, in the vein of keeping it simple for kids, my experience this spring was links are great, but if they have to go all over the place to find them, it gets jumbled up. So my plan is the current unit right now, this one I don't have published, but the current unit, Unit 1, Designing Studies, there would be a unit guide. Now this is a hyperdoc, a pacing guide, whatever you want to call it, one Google Doc that would have links to the things so kids know if I'm in Unit 1, this is where I'm starting. Now, once I get in there, I will have, this is where they'll find the links to what's going on today, what's going on this week, what's going on, what do I need to do right now. That unit guide obviously will have that information as we've talked about in the previous modules. Then my vision for this is that as the course goes on, if something, after Unit 1 is done, Unit 2 will be up here. Unit 1 will go in the previous units folder, which again is unpublished right now, but it will be there. And then when Unit 2 finishes, that will go in here as well. There will be a unit. So kids can always access those things, previous units, whatever, but only the current unit will be up here. They won't have to try to navigate which one are we on again. It'll be the one at the top, other than the course information. So lots that I need to learn about this. How's it going to connect with Skyward? Areas that I need to grow in my understanding. That's big. Will we be able to use it for attendance? What will attendance look like? What will all of those things look like in the fall? But those are questions that are probably outside of the LMS and just bigger questions. I am thinking I will probably use the calendar, but I haven't decided yet if I will use the Schoology calendar or if I will use my own Google Calendar linked in here. There are some things I like about that because it changes and it's dynamic and I can do it anytime, anywhere. But that I haven't decided yet, or I haven't learned enough to know about yet. So I don't know. That's where it's at right now. This is my my reflection on where my LMS will be right now. This is my vision. There's a very good chance that depending on how we approach the fall, it could look different, but that's my plan for now. Thanks.